Public Service Committee meeting to order. Let's see, roll call.
Bartsey,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Hughie,
Yes.
Okay, I don't think we have any previous minutes to deal with. So, and we have one item on the agenda, and that is the ODOT project review for a median. And could you, Matt, introduce us to this?
Yeah, so first, thank you all for being able to meet at such short notice. We have been working with ODOT on this Dussel pilot program project, and we met a few weeks ago, and the engineer on the project kind of brought up a hiccup that we didn't really anticipate due to the way that the drainage works on Dussel Drive between Piccadilly and Cass. The proposed island that we were planning to install would require a pretty significant amount of storm structures, including I think it was like 13 basins or so, and then some pipe, which would obviously increase the cost of that quite a bit. So we asked them to come up with a couple of alternatives. We tossed around, thought of putting multiple islands in to allow some of that water to go through so it wasn't such a concentrated flow across the eastbound lane. And then also to do like a depressed island, kind of similar to what we have on the Anthony Wayne Trail, where it would just be the edge of the asphalt and the grass would be right up against it, so that the water could still flow where it needed to go, because currently it all flows from the north side of Dussel across all the way to the south side of Dussel. And when we were planning this project, we didn't catch that, unfortunately. So the original intent was just to put the island in and thinking that the road was crowned in the middle, but obviously that is not the case. So that's why these three proposals were kind of worked up for us. So those were the alternatives that were proposed, along with, you know, some prices. The prices that you see in there are not what the city's share would be. They are just like the total cost of what it would cost to construct it that way, if that's correct. Okay. I forgot that I was sent an email until yesterday, and speaking with the engineer and Chris from ODOT, the deadline, I guess, to make this decision is coming. Well, they would like a decision by Monday, and I didn't feel comfortable making that decision myself, so I would like to put it in front of this committee.
I heard Councilman Barrow indicate that there was a grant involved.
That's correct. So this is kind of a new one for us. I don't know, Chris, if you want to kind of give a little background on this, it's up to you. But essentially, ODOT approached us with free money. is pretty much the long and short of it. Yeah. So I think it's somewhere around the 900,000 to $1 million range, somewhere in there, was what ODOT was planning to grant to us for this project to do the pilot study. So, you know, with that funding, we had kind of come together. We had several meetings to discuss what elements we would put into the design. And this one, again, is just, it's different than what we anticipated. So,
So is this project going to be covered entirely by the grant?
The hope was to have that be the case up until this little wrinkle. So to do it the way that we originally planned, we would be looking at, the city would have to just chip in some money in order to make it happen.
How much?
Well, I don't know. We don't really have a detailed estimate for sure. But when Chris and I talked yesterday, we thought it was somewhere in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. So that would be something that once we pick it and kind of go with the rest of the options, because it was kind of proposed that we would kind of get some options as like an à la carte. Like if we can fit it in the budget, we'll do it. If we can't fit it in the budget, we won't do it. So I guess that's kind of where we're at currently.
Okay.
They,
I think Councilman Barrow has,
Thank you. Matt, that 583, so that's not our cost, is our cost like down that 200,000-ish arena?
correct. So that 583 would be the estimated cost to build it the way it was drawn. And I don't know.
Well, that makes, from what the other choices were, this makes the most sense because it does the most thorough job of, as you pointed out, it provides the strongest physical separation. And as far as the highest cost goes, it's in the $200,000 range. We have $1 million towards the project, or towards the,
Was this in addition to, though? Was this in addition to
Right.
the
So-
initial plan?
I guess, Chris, can you explain a little bit what that, yeah, if you would, please.
I'll do my best to answer any and all questions, because this is a unique project. It's a pilot, something our folks and ODOT HQ proposed in January of '24. We, at our district office, contacted Maumee, Toledo, and Bowling Green for interest. These are good working relationships with all communities. All three communities had actively participated in safety stuff before, and we knew you were interested in this type of project in general. So we got recommendations from the city in March of '24, and I'm going to say maybe like May, June. The awards came out. Maumee was one of the 8 winners, and literally to get a free pilot project. So the goal is, right, pilot is a nice word for experiment, but to try and inform stuff that we're working towards for future design standards. We're going to try some stuff in Maumee, we're going to try some stuff in Toledo, Dayton, et cetera, and get some before and after data, and let's see how well it works. Because just because, Cincinnati tried something and they liked it, is this repeatable, right? Whether it's raised crosswalks, raised median islands, or maybe we're looking at depressed median islands. Here's some of the things that we can try. And the goal is, if we do our job right as engineers, we don't need Maumee PD's help with speed enforcement. That's really the goal, is we're going to build something that feels uncomfortable to drive much faster than 25. That ultimately, that's the goal. And part of the benefits, in addition to the crash benefits, are there's lots of people who would like to walk. Most of us need to walk and bike a little more. There's a lot of things over there in that part of town, whether it's the school, whether it's Rolfe Park, whether it's the rec center. There's lots of walkable destinations. And the infrastructure of the road, the sidewalk, and all the other parts and pieces should facilitate that. What's out there today facilitates driving really fast, because there's a lot of pavement and there's plenty of room for me to pass the slow person in front of me. That's awesome if we're all in cars and we're all in a hurry. For the people who are not in cars, whether they're on foot, on bicycle, whatever, not so good for them. Our money is capped at around 900,000 right now, and 600,000 to 700,000 of that is allocated for construction. So unlike any other ODOT project you've ever been involved with, right, there's a lot of flexibility in this. The goal, one of the goals is we've got this money set aside out of safety with no local match. If Maumee wants to do stuff beyond, awesome, but you're going to pay for everything that goes over that capped amount of safety funding. So the stage 2 set of plans is due next Friday. That is the first formal anything we're going to get with a formal cost estimate. We have some very rough cost estimate numbers now. But the goal all along is we're going to over-design stuff. We're going all the way from the weird 3-way stop at Piccadilly, all the way up through Cass, and we're going to end over here at Key. we're going to design more than $1 million worth of improvements. Stage 2, and then also Stage 3, we're going to check in with the city, and basically I would describe it as a menu. We're going to try and itemize all the bits. Here's what the raised crosswalks cost. Here's what the conversion of the signal at Key to always stop control. That's what that part's going to cost. Here's what the median chunks are going to cost. Right? So what we've got right now is an estimate on the median chunks. I got new information around 12 or 1 today. That 500,000 is looking maybe more like in the 300,000 range. But overall, we're somewhere in the 1.7 to $2 million worth of stuff that's going to be designed. And ultimately, Mommy is going to decide, do you want to kick in any of your own money for any of this stuff? And if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll spend as much as we can spend without going over. Right, but we may not be able to get all the way from Key down to Piccadilly. So we're going to work that out as we go through. And again, unlike any other ODOT project, we've been very adamant up front. We have 50%, you have 50% say. If Matt and I don't both agree on it, we're not doing it. The struggle right now is to meet the dates. If you look at the dates, and you've got it on one of your emails, I've got it printed out here somewhere. Plans should be done by the end of this year. That sounds like a long time from now. Project should get sold maybe next February, March, and we want the contractor to be out there June, July to build it and get out, specifically targeting the time frame when kids aren't trying to walk or bike to Fairfield, right? And maybe a little less action at Rolfe Park, at least in terms of kids and other people. Really trying not to disrupt the school traffic as much as possible. So if things go later, right, we can still build it. We'll still have plenty of good weather late next year, but the kids will be back at school. We're really trying to hit that window. So sorry, that's a very long explanation. But again, this does not fit the mold of any project ODOT's ever done, here or anywhere else.
So Chris, you were saying we can put in the additional or not as these projects pop up. So the $200-ish thousand that Matt's talking about, that puts us all in, and we're doing the job the 100% as it's designed, in alternative one rather.
I think
Ish.
this is maybe like the first like real checkpoint we've had, because there's a significant difference in cost. If we go with the raised curb to median, which is nice, is going to be effective at getting people to drive slower because you're going to see the vertical elements and not want to hit them. You're going to feel a little pinched, and that is going to naturally, you're not going to want to blast through there
Right,
as fast
that's
as you do
friction,
today, right? That costs a lot more money than the depressed median. The option of the pain in median, I mean, I've already made it like we don't support it. No one drives slower just by painting
And
stuff,
nobody pays attention to the lines.
right? I mean, if you want to paint the middle of the road, go drive on Heather Downs and see how well that works, right? I mean, we're trying to make this not look like Heather Downs.
Right.
I have a question. With this being a project related around safety and all, one of the pieces of information that I read was that we've had 25 accidents between Market and Key Street from 2021 to 2023. That was in a news article that was posted back in October. Is there a particular, do we know if there's a particular area of Dussel where the majority of those accidents are, and what type of accidents they are? Are they fender benders? Are they people being struck? Are they cars crossing the median or anything? You know, what would be a median?
I would have to go back and look at the study.
Right.
I don't, other than Cass at the Signal, I don't know that there was a big concentration. But this one is actually focused a lot more on before and after speed data. The good news is there's not a ton of crashes. I don't remember the severity rate, but I don't think the injury rate was that high. High for us is starting like getting over 30%.
Yeah, because in the article, it went on to state that 8 of those accidents were injury accidents, 1 involved a bicycle. So I was just kind of curious if we knew offhand where on this stretch of road, if it's centered in a particular area or if that was just fully spread across the road or across the length of the street.
If there's someone here who doesn't have the copy of the study, I'd be happy to send it.
Piccadilly to Key.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we have the crash data, so I can send that over to you. It's a pretty lengthy document though, so I don't know if I can find it quickly.
Matt, do you have a strong preference on which alternative?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would like to have the safest version and the least maintenance, long-term version, which would be the raised curb. I think it's the most effective for vertical element. Also, I think it will allow the road to last longer because it gives the asphalt somewhere to stop versus the depressed median, which does not offer that same stability. So over time, it will break down, and you'll have failure that you'll have to replace. And I think like Matt Miles and I were talking, that eventually we're going to want to curb it. So does it make sense to curb it now, or does it make sense to not spend the money and then end up ripping it out and curbing it 5-10 years down the road? I don't know, but that was kind of why I wanted to bring it here and let somebody else kind of weigh in on it, because I don't want to be the one making that decision. 'Cause it's, it's more money, obviously.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive version, but there's a reason, because it's the safest and will last the longest, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Thank you. I like the idea of the curbs. It's a nice, clean look. It saves the edge of the asphalt. It keeps the roads clean. And again, it's a barrier, as Chris pointed out. Yeah. A lot of information, Matt and Chris. Thank you.
yeah, appreciate that.
If I can speak. I'll admit, I'm not a huge fan of this project myself. I feel like we as a city are going to get taken down a rabbit hole with expenses, similar to what we've seen in a lot of the projects around town as well. We've got, again, with the major sewer issues and stuff, I feel like this, to me, is just kind of a project where we kind of created a problem that I don't know is necessarily truly a problem. We're still in the design stage right now, and we're already looking at Maumee possibly putting up $200,000. What's not to say that we get in the middle of this project again and run into more issues where it's like, hey, you need to put up more money, you need to put up more money. And what started out as a project where Maumee wasn't necessarily probably going to be expected to put much money towards is now putting more and more money in, sinking more and more money into it. In the meantime, we've got other projects going on, other issues in the city, and I don't want to risk pulling funding for those kind of projects that I feel are, or some residents might feel are a little bit more pressing or more important. Not that this one isn't a beneficial project, but I just don't want to get the city into a situation where we're constantly dumping or pouring more and more money into a project where initially we were with the general understanding that it was probably going to cost us next to nothing or nothing at all. So that's one of the biggest concerns I have with this particular project.
So, Chris, I'd like to ask you, this is done by engineers. We have a problem with the water flow. I'm sure it creates more trouble in the winter freezing because you're having more surface water on the road longer. And this was brought to us because this is a big project and it's an important project, and not to neglect all the other responsibilities that are facing Maumee, but this is rather an important thing. That's why we're having the special meeting. It's not just, gee, let's fix the road now. It seems like a good idea. I mean, would you enlighten us a little bit more about the necessity for this?
I guess maybe first of all, to address financial concerns, those are very real. To be clear, ODOT is not asking you to spend money. And again, this is very different than other projects we've done. We're here to present the options. And again, stuff that's decided today, right, maybe 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you get an updated set of plans, we get an updated cost estimate, maybe you make a different decision. The more we can nail some things down now, theoretically saves us time and saves us money on design fees, because we don't have to go back and redesign it, right, because no one works for free. But again, if you guys make a decision today, we inform the design team, this is the direction the city wants to go. If we come back and revisit this when we get the stage 3 set of plans in a few months, reevaluate your situation, reevaluate the newest cost estimate, right? If you want to hold it at 0% mommy investment, that's fine. And again, there's going to be a menu of things. And if there's something, if you decide to cut what we're doing, you know, or proposed at the key intersection and say, well, we want to do all this other stuff, awesome. We still have a project, right? And the goal was to have designed all these other parts and pieces. So maybe a couple of years from now, you've already got a set of engineered plans, you've got the drawings, you've got the cost estimates. You could theoretically do this with your own crews or bid it out to a contractor and do it later. And if you decide to never do it, fine. We want to help you make an informed decision. This is the best information we have today. So we're not asking for a resolution. We're not asking anybody to sign anything. We just want to give the design team clear direction. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I mean, like I said, I'm not questioning the project so much in itself. I think I'm just kind of looking down road as well. You're talking about construction a year and a half from now. I'm looking at things like tariffs, inflation, and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
We're looking at rates based on today's date, today's dollar, and we're already asking, hey, if we go down this road, we're thinking we're going to need another $200,000. Another year from now, is that going to be another $200,000, or is it going to be another $400,000 from the city?
Sure.
So those are kind of the concerns that I have, is that, you know, by all means, I like alternative one. I think it serves a great job. I think it's going to be the most effective with the objective of what we're trying to achieve. My concern, I'm looking at it straight up from a financial standpoint, is are we able to afford this with a lot of the different things that we have planned as a city financially to take on?
If I could interject, so there'd be two funding sources for this project, either the special revenue fund for street maintenance or the B fund. And then further, I think your concerns are change orders. And Chris, if you can attest to the typical change order process and what we would anticipate and how that would be communicated.
I will say this is and probably will remain atypical. And to speak to some of the financial concerns, the estimates we have include a 15% contingency, 4.9% inflation, and an extra 10% for construction inspection, which we historically ask the local government agency to eat that cost. We're eating it with this project. Right, so if you add that up, there's about an extra 30% built into today's numbers. Your guess is as good as mine if 30% is a good guess. We'll find out right about 15 months from now.
And Chris, that's a typical bid, how they look at it, because they know there's going to be something coming, so that 30% is not unusual
No, I would say not.
in the arenas you put them in, rather.
Yeah, and again, right, they will have a more fine-tuned cost estimate a week from now. It will continue to get revised as we progress through design. But in terms of like change order type stuff, if mommy's not interested in spending any money, then we're going to try everything we can to keep it under that. And we'll need to give ourselves a cushion, right? Because stuff happens when you get out there and start tearing the road up. We'll need to give ourselves a little cushion.
Well, I like Councilman Hughie here, I like that most comprehensive, invasive plan. I mean, I think it speaks to all the needs, and not that 200,000 is not a lot of money, it's an awful lot of money, but we're looking at this being a project that's going to serve Maumee for the next couple, 2-3 decades until something else breaks. And being cognitive of all the other problems or issues and finances we have in the city of Maumee, we can't keep not doing things because of the sewer fix or this fix or that fix. You have to keep repairing things as it goes. We can't ignore them or put it off or do a secondary type of repair that's not going to fix it. It's going to kind of, I think those alternatives look like Band-Aids in comparison to alternative one. So, I mean, I'm in favor of this and going forward with it personally.
Just to clarify, Councilman Hughie, you're not in favor of any of them?
No, it's not that I'm not in favor of them. I'm just, I think for me, I looked at this when this was first presented back in October as a project where the likelihood of Maumee putting money towards it was, as from what I read, seemed pretty slim to none. Like, I didn't really feel this was a project that Maumee would be getting asked to put money towards. And here we are in the initial design phase, and we're already being asked to put money towards it. And as we start building and building onto that design and, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? You know, and then we start getting to a situation where now we're up to several $100,000 or up to $1 million going into this project out of Maumee city funds. That's the concern that I have. I just don't know if this is necessarily something worth Maumee putting money towards right now.
But, excuse me, but aren't we just talking about this project, not all these other projects that are going to come down the pike? We're still talking about this specific project.
Right,
Is that
and I'm
Matt?
talking about this specific project. I'm
But you-
talking
but you've-
about,
But you've mentioned we have this coming and that coming and this coming. That's city business. That's what happens.
I'm talking about this particular project, that
Okay.
as we continue to get further and further and closer to this project, are there going to be more options that keep coming up, that keep coming back to Maumee saying, hey, do we want to spend money on this? Do we want to spend money on that? Do we want to spend money on this related to this project?
Yeah, and to be clear, when we scoped this, I don't remember when it was really hot out, I'm going to say like last June. We walked the entire project limits, right, the ODOT people, the city people, and the consultant team. We're going to present about $2 million worth of improvements, right? And that is something the city asked for up front, is show us the menu of options. We're going to pay a little more in design to design more than we know that we're going to build with this project. And again, we're going to keep circling back. Here's, right, and if we chunk it out into a bunch of little pieces, here's what each little piece costs, right? So if we come close to that, you know, whatever it is, $600,000, $700,000 of ODOT money, you're going to tell us where you're going to draw the line, all right? And we will try to keep coming back as often as necessary to revisit that, because we know, right, you're probably not going to want to sink that much local money to make this a $2 million project, and that's fine.
But you're talking about multiple projects, right, Chris?
Well,
Multiple.
I mean, the set of plans, right, like, we're going to go all the way from the three-way stop around the
Okay.
curve, all the way to Key. Right, so there's some race crosswalks when you get over there closer to Eastfield and Fairfield. We're not really doing much at the Cass intersection, but between Cass all the way around the curve to the three-way stop, right, we proposed some medians, and there's different options for the medians that have different costs, mostly because of the drainage. It's not so much the curb.
Right.
Right, it's getting the water to flow from the middle to the outside.
Right.
Versus the sheet flow that's out there today. So again, like, trying to be as transparent as possible, like, hey, here's a heads up. there were some options, and, I mean, based on the stuff I got from Gail today, it's maybe not a 500 versus a 300. It's maybe both the raised median and the depressed median are maybe within 100,000 of each other.
Right.
And, you know, they admitted, like, hey, we forgot to convert square feet to square yards. Then there's like a $200,000 oops right there.
Right.
Because no one's checked anybody's math yet. I mean, and again, that's why the consultant has their own QA, QC person. Mommy reviews it, ODOT reviews it, we'll catch those mistakes, but no one's checked anybody's math yet.
Yeah, and I guess if I can butt in for a second, just to kind of, I guess, comment back to Councilman Hugie. Like Chris said, this is like an a la carte, right? They're going to design it with all the bells and whistles, and then we get to pick and choose what pieces and parts we want to put in there. This particular item, they're just looking for guidance on which design to go for. And that's kind of the gist of it, right? I mean, it's,
Yeah, and again, you can change your mind later.
right,
It's just, if we land on something that everybody's comfortable with, we give the design team clear guidance, they only have to design it once.
right,
It will cost us a little more money to have them design it twice.
right.
Well, the necessity for this meeting was because they needed an answer pretty quickly by Monday. So,
Correct.
Yeah, I'm still not clear, Councilman Hugie, on your position. Are you saying you don't want to approve any of these
No,
three?
I'm not saying that I don't want to approve any. I just want to make sure that if Maumee ends up having to put money towards it, that we are making the best use of the tax dollars that we put towards it. I'm in agreement that option one probably would be the most effective method because of the curbing and all. I think for me, I just don't know that I feel that there's that big of an issue in this area. Like, if speeding's the issue, why not just put in speed bumps? You know, something like that. I've realized that this is just trying to do more of an aesthetical manner of making it, of achieving the goal of slowing down speeders. I just want to make sure that if Maumee's putting money towards it, that we're doing it in the most financially efficient manner.
I think we all feel that way. I'm still not clear then on what your position is.
it also includes the catch basins, multiple catch basins and underground piping, and getting the water away. Water damages, water always wins. Mother Nature wins. You guys know that more than I do, but Mother Nature always wins. So when there's constant water and it sits somewhere too long, it damages everything it touches and everything that's around. So that's what attracts me to, the safety is a large concern, but that really attracts me to, let's take care of it, put the basins in, and really be aggressive in removing overabundance of water sitting on the roads.
Yeah, and I guess in response to one of the comments, right, there are proposed 3 raised crosswalks that will do exactly what you're describing. They just won't be a bump. They'll be flat on top. They'll be nice and wide, striped as crosswalks, but they will function as speed bumps. And they are effective. It's only a 6-inch lift, so your fire vehicles and all the other stuff that comes through there is still going to manage to navigate them. They're just going to have to go about 15 to get over there and not bounce off the pavement. So if you're interested in more raised crosswalks, right, like we can
Pick and choose. Right?
I think part of Councilman Hugie's concerns is that for that downtown project, there were such large change orders and that we're really hesitant to avoid that situation, if at all possible. So I understand there's no guarantees.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for my opinion as far as which one's the best route to go, I would agree option one is the best route to go.
Yeah.
I won't deny that. I just don't want to get into a situation you know, like I've said, with where we start out with this idea that we probably weren't going to spend a whole lot of money, and then we just keep nickel and diming it to a point where we just keep adding and adding. And I realize that we as a city can make that decision, but, you know, we haven't had much public input on this either yet. So I think at this point, I'm still just very curious as to what the residents, especially in that particular area, think as far as how this project would impact them as well.
Yeah, yeah, please.
So I get what you're saying too, but last council, they voted, we are committed to this project.
Mhm.
We're committed to it. We're not committed to it. What you're talking about right now is not going to commit us to anything. It's going to commit them to the ground.
Right.
What you're talking about was what I struggled with as well. For me, it's less about, because either way, it's going to slow things down. My concern was with the next one. The first one is super upfront, but has much quicker.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be that deferred, because if you've ever driven on asphalt, that's a butt of the grass, it's going to crash. The curbing one, more expensive upfront, but will last a little bit.
Mhm.
The middle one is just pink, and it still costs a lot of money. So what you're looking at right now is just deciding between these two, which way they're designed 20 years ago, because they have to take the time to design. So it's, when we get closer to it, I'm sure we'll have a lot of public hearing, when we have our $2 million, the big excuse for it, we want to keep the 900, but by taking the approach now, we're going to save money on design costs and
So we're not going to recommend this to council because we're not having a meeting before Monday, so just recommend that we give the authority for ODOT to design it the way you're suggesting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me.
Well, I was kind of talking to everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the procedure here. Do we
So-
need to make a recommendation? Or?
Yeah, I move we make a recommendation that alternative one gets designed by the ODOT anytime.
No, I'll second it.
Okay. Call the roll.
Bardsey?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes.
Hugie?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
I guess there's no further business, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
And a second?
Roll.
Okay. Bardsey?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes.
Hugie?
Yes.
Okay.